can't take it for granted, bro. I might not be able to get up and grind like this every day no more. Like most people, I'm afraid of failure, bro.
Yeah.
Like to speak at a university, especially like Emory, you know what I mean? That's a pretty prestigious university. I'm real scared of opening this shit right now.
Don't point that shit over here, man.
Yeah, man, we was a trio, man. We was down there in Manhattan buying cars. Appreciate you, brother.
Welcome to another episode of B-Roll. Today's guest is one of my best friends. I've been knowing this man since the 9th grade. He's a music manager, investor, co-owner of one of the hottest event spaces in Atlanta, Agenda Studios, and a real estate agent. He's your favorite hustler. Please give it up for the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Darren Scoon. Woo! Appreciate for taking some time out, man, for this interview. We've been trying to do this for a while, so appreciate that.
Appreciate you, man.
Scoon, for those who don't know, where you from originally?
I'm from DC originally, born. I was there until I was 13 and I moved to Georgia.
What was the dynamics of your family structure growing up?
My mother and father were, they broke up when I was young, probably like 1 year old, 2 years old. So I've always lived with my mom and I spent summers with my dad in New York.
Was it a particular reason for you to move to Atlanta?
Yeah, it's a very long-winded answer. But
even the short version.
The short version, I would say I always agreed to move with my dad from my high school years, where it was supposed to be middle school, but we pushed it back. And then once 9th grade came, yeah, it was time to move.
So you pretty much was like Trey from Boys in the Hood.
I guess so. I never
thought
of it
of
like
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
How did Atlanta influence you growing up?
It was a culture change for sure. Coming from DC was a lot of different things that we were used to and that were popular and that we did. And then when I came here, everything was different. Different type of music, different like clothes and fashion, different everything, to be honest, lifestyles. I don't really know how it influenced me though. It just opened my eyes. I think it exposed me to different cultures and different ways of thinking. So I got both now instead of just one.
As a teenager or a preteen, was there any like childhood heroes?
Like what kind of childhood heroes?
Like somebody who influenced you, like that you looked up to.
I don't know. As a kid, I feel like as a kid, you know, you look up to like celebrities and stuff when you like real young. I used to like the rappers and stuff that were in the business. So like Jay-Z and like, you know what I mean, like all those people that were like kind of running the game. I felt like, but then as I got older, I kind of like got new people to look up to, better people to look up to.
Growing up in Riverdale, how did you avoid going down the wrong path? Because we from the same city and it seemed like we only had 3 options: play sports, join the game, or sell drugs. Like how do you, because you didn't play sports in high school, so how did you avoid going down that dark path?
I don't know. I did my best to avoid it. I feel like I did involve myself in a lot of stupid stuff, but I think I was smart enough to get out of situations that could have like derailed me. But yeah, honestly, the only time I really got out of it is when it was time to go to college and I left. But I was dibbling and dabbling with a lot of bullshit while I was there. I just didn't do enough and get caught doing enough.
During those time in high school, was it any positive influence around you? Influences?
I got some people in my family that have like successful careers. It's kind of like in line with the things I do now, like in entertainment and stuff. My aunt, my uncle, my dad has had success in a lot of different areas. So I feel like I've had a few people kind of teach me things and lead me in the right way and give me some type of like motivation and something to go towards.
You mentioned college. You went to Georgia State. What was your degree?
My degree, I was in marketing.
Marketing? What made you want to stay in Georgia? Why not go back to DC or anywhere else?
For the longest, when I first moved down here, like my 9th and 10th grade, I couldn't wait to go back to DC. I actually, 2 of the schools I wanted to go to on my list was Howard and Maryland University. So I wanted to go back, but then when I graduated like a 3.6 from Riverdale, and I had a Hope Scholarship. So if you know anything about Hope Scholarship, it gives you, you know what I mean, your tuition pretty much taken care of if you go to a Georgia school. So
they didn't do that in other colleges, other states?
Nah, that was like unheard of, to get your full tuition paid for. Especially like 3.6 is a good GPA, but that's not like top of the top. Like usually people, if you get academic,
it's like 4.0
yeah,
type
you
shit.
got like all A's. So I'm like,
fine.
for me to be able to get my school taken care of and still like, you know what I mean, have decent grades, I was like, bet, I'll just stay here and take advantage of that scholarship.
You visited Stanford though.
Yeah.
Why? What was that?
My dad always was pushing me to do like just go above and beyond. So I went to Stanford, but it wasn't for undergrad. So after like when I was finishing up my undergrad at Georgia State, I took the LSAT, which is the standardized test for law school, and then I also took the GMAT, which is the same thing for business school. And one of the law schools that I was going to apply to, well, I actually did apply to, was Stanford.
Okay.
So, yeah, if I was going to go to law school, I wanted to go out in California. But once we started crunching the numbers, the USC, UCLA, Pepperdine, I did a couple, like, really good schools out there. And I was able to get into some, but the only thing was out-of-school fees. I mean, out-of-state fees. Yeah, and so by the time you do the math and you pay attention to, like, how much you was going to pay in tuition, it's just a big decision to make. You know what I mean? Going 6 figures in debt for college.
Trust me, bro. It ain't worth it.
So, yeah, I got cold feet and didn't want to go anymore because I didn't want to, like, make a decision that I was going to have to stay on that route for the rest of my life.
And it seemed like you don't regret that decision either.
Not at all.
Describe the moment when you realized you didn't want to work a regular 9 to 5 for the rest of your life.
Around the time I was in college, around my senior year, senior year, I was an intern at NBA TV.
Okay.
That's like part of Turner Broadcasting. And so basically with them, I started off as an intern, then I got hired on, and I was supposed to be working like full time, but then slowly but sure, like a few months in, the NBA had a lockout. That, like, I don't know if you remember that, like a long time ago. Yeah, it was around that time. And it was unfortunate at the time, but it honestly opened my eyes up to a lot of things. But they had a lockout, and in NBA lockout, there's no basketball games till they come to an agreement with their contracts and stuff. And basically, everybody at NBA TV had to get either cut, or if they were like valuable, they would kind of move them around and have them working on different projects like PGA or NASCAR or whatever other like sports places they might need help. But if you were low on the totem pole, you would get cut. And so I managed, because I knew a lot of people, to get like moved around and stay in the system. But I just started realizing like how fragile like careers are. And even though it feels like it's like long-term safety, it's not. You know what I mean? Because there was people there that didn't plan on getting cut that got cut. And so once that happened, and my salary was really low. So I was like, once that happened, I kind of just realized like this might not be it for me. I'd rather just bet on myself.
Word. What's an experience that significantly shaped who you are today?
I mean, I don't know. I have a few. I feel like on the recent side, like just health, I had stomach issues, like health issues. So I feel like during that time, it was around the pandemic, like 2020, 2021, like that kind of opened my eyes just to like realizing that you can't take your health for granted, and like you might not always feel like the way you feel today. So now I kind of like got my health back in check, and I'm on point now, and I got the energy, and it's like I know how it feels to not have the energy. So I just try to go hard as possible, you know what I mean, and not waste any days or any time, because it's like, can't take it for granted, bro. I might not be able to get up and grind like this every day no more. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like that's like the most recent.
What was the issue, if you don't mind?
I mean, it was just I had a stomach bacteria I got from like traveling. I can't really pinpoint where it came from, but I was traveling, going to a lot of different places, and I believe it was from like the water or the ice in one of them countries.
What fear have you overcame or are working on to overcome?
I feel like a lot of people deal with this fear, but I mean, over the last couple of years, I think getting older, I'm overcoming it. But I would say just the fear of like really putting yourself out there and trying. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of people, like when you're young, it's a lot of crowd mentality, and you kind of do what the crowd does, and people are scared to jump out there and do things and stand out on their own and get criticized or whatever the case may be. And I feel like as you get older, you start to realize like everybody's opinions really don't matter that much, and you should really just try what the fuck you want to try. So
people don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Exactly. So I feel like if I had to say anything, that like I don't really care what people think anymore. I got to do what I want to do, and I just live with the results.
What insecurities, if any, are you willing to share?
I mean, insecurity-wise, man, I can't really think other than just like, yo, I mean, like most people, I'm afraid of failure, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I channel that in a different way, though. Like, some people get afraid of failure and don't try, but I'm afraid of failure, so that makes me want to try and keep trying because it's like I just don't want to fail at stuff. I feel like not doing it is the same as failing.
Yeah.
So.
Ashley share that same insecurity, and I started looking at like videos about it. Go yeah, pop champagne. I'm celebrating.
Appreciate you, brother.
And they say they compare it to like jumping in the pool or like from a cliff or something into some water, a body of water.
Mm-hmm.
That moment when you like, I guess like the butterflies, when you get butterflies from an idea or something, that's when you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And once you do it, you realize this wasn't so bad.
Yeah, always.
So, yeah.
It's never as bad as you think it is.
Tell me about Cherish Achievement and what it meant to you. It can be old or present.
Speaking at Emory recently was
I knew you was gonna say that.
Yeah, I was about to say that was what that was like last month? No, it was in March, 2 months ago. Yeah, but yeah, actually no, it was last month in April. But yeah, I feel like that was a really big achievement. I mean, to speak at a university, especially like Emory, you know what I mean, that's a pretty prestigious university, and I feel like just being able to share my experiences and my thought process on marketing to a marketing class, and not only just an undergrad but the graduates too. You know what I mean? Like, it's a pretty qualified audience to be talking to, so it felt good.
And I was there in the back chilling, and people was taking notes. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I got some people I owe some internships to right now.
What values are fundamental to you and why?
Ambition and discipline. Okay. I think those will probably be the main two. Anything else, I feel like you can build off of that, but you just gotta have like the desire to like want more, and then I feel like discipline enough to just walk it down, even though, you know what I mean, there's gonna be moments you get discouraged and shit's gonna happen. I feel like that those two are the like foundation to all this shit. Everything else can be built on top of that. But if you want more and you can stay disciplined and do what you need to do to get more, everything else will figure itself out. I'm real scared at opening this shit right now.
Don't point that shit over here, man.
I know.
Just make sure you hold the corky. There we go.
There we go. Just trying to do it smooth. I wasn't trying to fuck up the fit.
Ooh. What's your definition of a fulfilling life?
It's funny. I just had this talk with Will the other day, but I think living a life that I curate for myself, that I think is just like I can get rid of or subtract all the negative things. Like anything that I don't like, if I can get that out of my life, is great. Like I don't like cooking, so if I could hire a chef. I don't like cleaning, so if I could hire a cleaner. Like if I could just make my life everything I like doing, that's great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's perfect. 24 hours of what I like to do all day. That's a fulfilling life. My boy ain't go cheap, boy. He went big on big. Got the Moet.
Hey, man,
I see you, man.
It's a real deal Holyfield.
I like how you treat your guests, man.
I treat all my guests with champagne, man.
Yeah, man. You get a little toast. Appreciate you, brother.
One thing. Perfect with the sun. Since the 9th grade, you always had this tremendous amount of confidence. Was it anyone or anything in particular that helped you build up the confidence you have today?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I had to give all the credit to my pops, to be honest, man. Not all of it, but most of it. I feel like my life is a cheat code. Ever since I was, like, young, my dad always used to have, like, just real adult talks with me. I feel like he never talked to me like I was a kid. So I'm like 9, 8 years old, road trips with him. Like he would just talk to me like I'm an adult. He'd pick my brain, see how I think. And I feel like he gave me a lot of wisdom and his experiences. He told me stories. So it's like I went into my life with the experiences of a grown man already. Because like, even though I didn't live his life, he told me enough stuff to happen with him that I already learned from all his mistakes. So it's like when I got out here, it just felt like I was already 30.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was only like fucking 15. So yeah, it was cool. But I feel like that helped me a lot, and that gave me a lot of confidence because a lot of things I saw coming before a lot of other people, I guess.
All right, let's move on to big business with Scoon.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide to invest in an event space?
Well, I've always been investing in stuff. I've read up on a lot of people like that do investments, that do like mergers and acquisitions and stuff, and venture capitalists and things. And I've learned that investing in things and like successful business models is like a quicker way to build wealth. You know what I mean? Instead of always building everything from the ground up. Like some things are already in motion and they're already doing good, and you can buy your way into them instead of having to build everything from the ground. And
so Agenda was doing...
Yeah, Agenda was one of those things. I feel like me and Neil, that's the homie. I met him actually through Will. We done traveled and went to New York Fashion. We did a lot of little things together, did some events together, and that ended up leading to us having a conversation of him wanting to bring me in on Agenda. We worked out some numbers, and yeah, I made a hefty investment with Agenda, and then that's when we started doing everything together and blowing it up bigger. So yeah.
When investing in Agenda, what was your top 5 deciding factors?
I don't know if I can give you 5 off top, but I can give you the few that come to mind. I would say, one, I mean, you want to see the revenue stream. You want to look and see how much money it's making now, and then be honest with yourself and see if is this something you can like scale or help scale. Like I know his skill set, I know my skill set, and I was like, I felt like my skill set can help expand and like grow the business. So that was one thing. Who's already running it and how they operate, and I feel like Neil's really good with marketing and stuff too.
Yeah.
And that's where we kind of clicked when we did events together. We saw that we both have a strong like skill set over there, and so those are like the main two. Just the money that was already being brought in, if I could bring more to this situation, and then obviously with the business already, like who was running it and what are their strong suits. And so those were like the two. And then other than that, I mean, it's a space that we both thrive in, you know, in creative space, dealing with like people in entertainment and the creative lane. I feel like we both have a strong network in there. So it's not like we're going into a new field.
Yeah.
We're just talking to people that we already have.
How long has it been since you invested in Agenda?
About a year now.
A year? Just a year?
Yeah, just a year.
Damn.
Yeah, we did a lot.
That was a partying ass year then. I thought it would have been like 2.5.
Yeah, I know.
Damn.
Yeah, we did events and stuff before then, but those were like just one-off events. They weren't like a part of Agenda as a collective. But then, yeah, with Agenda, about 10 months.
Damn, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Can you describe any the type of doors that opened up after you got your hands on it?
Yeah, just doing business with a lot of like people in this space. We did business with Paper Frank, our artist, so we got to basically have our own art gallery, which was dope. Made us art dealers unofficially. I mean, technically we got a percentage of all the art sold, so that was cool. Working with labels like Love Renaissance and their artists, and having them do things at our spot with their new artists and rollouts. Just like everybody we've done things with, we have a strong relationship with now. Red Bull, Revolt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Deleon. So it's like a lot of different people that we can call on, or that's kind of in my portfolio now. If I need to do something, I got a strong relationship with all those places. So those doors.
I think you literally just answered this question, but from your experience, how do you scale an event space?
It's really just about the uniqueness with the events and how you market it. That's really the main two things. You want to give people experiences that they desire, and like just listen to the people. People complain every day about clubs and why they don't like clubs, so you got to figure out how to give them something that they do like and try to stay away from the things that they tell you they don't like. And then just get creative with your marketing, because you got to cut through all the traffic online. As soon as you open your phone, you're going to see a million things. So it's just, you got to find a way for yours to be 1,000,001. You know what I mean? To stick out.
Yeah.
So those are the main two things I would say. And that's just building community.
How do you build a community?
You got to focus on the market that you're trying to target. And then I would say little things like all the stuff that people don't do. Like most people will promote and they'll post something and think they're supposed to reactions automatically. But, you know, there's a lot of times where I personally invite 50 people a day for the 5-6 days going into the event. So by the time the event come, I done invited 250, 300 people personally.
Wow.
And I feel like those are like the small steps that a lot of people don't do, but it makes a huge difference because that way it won't be, oh, I didn't hear of it, or man, I would have came if I knew about it. Well, you're going to make sure they know because you sent it to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like that's the best way. And people like to respond to personal invites as opposed to just seeing a blanket invite over the web.
That's true. What is Scoon rule of thumb when deciding to invest in a business? Not an event space, any type of business. What is your rule of thumb?
It's changed a lot over time. I get more careful with everything I do now because I was more like advantageous and just jump out there and try things before. But now it's really about two things. If I really believe in it, like really believe in it, not I think this can make money, but I believe that this is going to change something. Like this is like important to culture or whatever. Like I have to really like look at it and be like, yo, do people really need this, or is this something I got to convince people they need? Yeah. And if it's something that they need, I feel like that's like always a good sign. I want to be passionate about it to make sure that I don't have like ups and downs with my motivation. Like whether we winning or losing, I want to always feel passionate about what I'm doing. And I think those like the main two.
That's a good rule, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Real passion. Have you made any bad investments before?
Plenty.
Just give me one. And the story behind it.
I had a car business. I had a car business with Will Hill, the rapper, man. And shout out to my boy Mike. Yeah, man, we was a trio, man. We was down there in Manhattan buying cars, fighting for our lives out there. But yeah, man, car business is a real treacherous business, man. It's a lot of tricks, a lot of things, man. It's a lot of Mexican dudes, Arab dudes, African dudes be running up there at the and they got that joint on lock at the auctions. They know more about cars than we did. They can make cars look like they broke and not be broke. They can make cars look like they work good and not be good. Like, yeah, just being in your 20s and starting a car business, bro, you gonna take some L's. Like we done sold some nice cars and it worked out, and then we also bought some lemons that literally like was breaking down on us this first week we got it. Damn. So it's like 2 steps forward, 4 steps back, damn near. Yeah, we ran that for like 2 years.
What was the learning lesson behind all of that?
Fuck cars. Nah, I'd say the learning lesson, honestly, I believe with me and Will, it taught us how our breaking points and where we work best at and stuff. Like we learned each other really well as far as like business partners. And I feel like that really set us up for like knowing how to navigate this whole music thing and managing him and like us having that business relationship there. Cause we pushed each other's buttons. We know how hard we're willing to go for things and all that. So to me, that was the biggest lesson. And other than that, just learning like be careful with just business partners and everything. Cause those were my business partners and we solid, but we shouldn't have been 3 people running a car business because it ain't that much money on them cars. Like the profit is cool, but it ain't enough to be split in 3 ways. At least not at the beginning level. We would have had to keep doing it and eventually grow to a big dealership. Yeah. Yeah, but selling used cars, splitting that profit 3 ways is like chump change.
Shit. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Live and you learn.
How do you keep a healthy relationship with your business partners?
Great questions, bro.
For real? Yeah, man, appreciate it, man.
Hey, man, you right now. I feel like I'm walking right into them. Just communication, man. I feel like business relationships are like a regular relationship. Like you just gotta really know the person you're dealing with, talk with them, have expectations on like what they can do, what they can't do, what they're good at. Like just be 100% honest, or you're gonna get caught off guard and be frustrated. If people are just pretending to be something or pretending to be good at this or saying, yo, I could do this, knowing they struggle doing this or they don't like to. Like you just a lot of honesty, transparency, and just good judgment, man. Knowing like what you can do and what you can't do, and delegating tasks. So, other than that, and communication. Like whenever you feeling like something, instead of letting that brew, you gotta have good communication to talk to people before you get to that point where you're gonna be like agitated or something. But that's really it.
All right. What movie quote is this? Anything I wanted was a phone call away. Free cars, the key to a dozen hideouts. Flats all over the city.
Goodfellas.
Fuck!
I already know this. That's my second favorite movie. Yeah.
Henry, Goodfellas.
Yeah, man, I already know. That's my guy.
How much of an influence does movies play a role in the way you market yourself and your business?
Major. I grew up on movies. My uncle took me to movies a lot when I was young. Like, you know, as a kid, that's what he liked to do. So he ended up taking me to movies a lot. My dad, same thing. Yeah. In New York, I feel like it was like a kung fu craze for a while. Like I used to watch like all the kung fu movies, like Drunken Master and shit. Yeah. And then after that, and I feel like those kung fu movies kind of like, they teach you how to be like noble and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like they have like underlying things, like even like with Dragon Ball Z and shit. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like the characters teach you how to like really dig deep and do what you need to do, and you know what I mean? Like all that type shit. It's all those type
good type shit. Yeah.
All them storylines. And then after that, as I got a little older, I feel like I got into a lot of gangster movies. But yeah, a lot of gangster movies.
Have you taken any ideas from a movie or director to market something? If so, what was it?
Yeah, I try to use my movie knowledge as much as possible. I've watched a lot of fucking movies, and I feel like if I took anything, more so it'd be just the camera angles and stuff, like from different movies. Like while I watch movies, if I see something that's like fascinating to me or like really intriguing, I'll like remember it or I'll like screenshot it or something, you know what I mean? So I can keep it for later and be like, yeah, I want to do this angle in something that we do or whatever the case may be. And then sometimes I've listened to like different directors talk about their thought process and why they shoot, and they'll explain like the psychology behind certain shots. And I'm really big on psychology. So yeah, I'll use like some of those techniques or something to kind of like convey maybe products that we sell or, you know what I mean? Yeah. Something like that.
What marketing campaign did you recently light and why?
Most recently, it was a couple days ago, a dude from London, from UK, Clint. He has a brand called Cortez.
That's so fucking funny. I literally just bumped into like his page. He's a designer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dope. But yeah, I got a couple pieces from at the crib. But he just did something in New York. It was like a jean like giveaway or like trade off, but the way they marketed and rolled it out was genius. The strategy behind it was genius. Like real dope dude, bro. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Cortez. That's my middle name, by the way. How do you conduct market research?
I mean, really, it's just the numbers, to be honest. Just gotta pay attention to the analytics and know what to do with it. Study it, like Spotify, for example, or like anything. Just see what people are like getting attracted to, and paying attention to everything you put out. What are the reactions to it? What's spiking and why it's spiking? Sometimes you gotta ask the audience what's going on. Put polls up on the gram. Figure out what they like. I mean, involve people. Everything's just about communication between you and the consumer. So, just numbers that'll help you figure that out. That's just how I go about market research, to be honest.
You may have just answered this with the numbers, but how do you measure the success of a marketing campaign?
See what I mean? These questions, man, crazy. I mean, the way I measure it is just did we do what we set out to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So usually before we roll out a marketing campaign, we have a goal in mind, whether it's to increase listenership somewhere or like get a new market or, you know what I mean, sell a certain amount of items or whatever the case may be. So whatever the goals we set out and draw out, I measure our success on did we accomplish them.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going into artist management now.
Got you.
You manage Will Hill, the rapper. Numbers are going crazy on Spotify. He just dropped a song with Isaiah Falls. Video was amazing. Song is dope.
Shout out to
That whole
Isaiah.
project that he did was amazing. What
So-
made you decide to become Will's manager?
I mean, it's like one of my best friends, me and him, you. So it's like keeping in the family. But I mean, he wanted me to. He reached out to me and asked me to. He knows how serious I am about business, and like the same way he's passionate about music, I'm passionate about learning about business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I guess he just entrusted my trajectory and what I'm on to help guide him with his music. So, but I believe in him. He's dope. He's been a dope artist. He's been getting better and better every year. I feel like he's really great now. Like, he was good to start, but he's really great. And yeah, man, like I said, if I believe in it and I feel like I like where it's going and where it's headed, I feel like if I can help it, then that's really the main deciding factors.
You and Will recently went to LA to produce your own show. Can you explain what and who was all involved in the process?
Yeah. So yeah, we went out to LA. We had a show out there. What was that?
That was like maybe a month ago.
Yeah, about a month ago. Yeah, but we had a show out there at Peppermint Club. They're a Live Nation venue. It's kind of hard to get in touch with them and get booked for them. There's a lot of artists out there who can't get the show there. That's what we were told by the people out there themselves. But, you know, it was a process walking that shit down. We've thrown 2 big mansion parties out there in LA. And over time, the DJs that we've hired, one of the DJs, Rose God, shout out to her. She was my connect to connect me to the rep at Peppermint Club and with Live Nation so we can have a conversation. The work we've done with Will's numbers, everything checked out. When they looked at Will's Instagram, they looked at his Spotify, his numbers and everything. They had faith in us and believed we could bring out a crowd. And, yeah, they put us on the board. And once they gave us a date and a Ticketmaster link, we started promoting it and had marketing and rollout ideas. We brought in 500 racks. She the homie. Shout out to her. Shout out to her manager, Carell. Shout out to Fawcett, their DJ. But, yeah, and that's the homie, too. But just brought all our network and resources from LA in, tried to bring as much people from LA in as possible so we can have a cohesive show. Because, you know, this is a away game for us. Even though we go out to LA a lot, it's still good to bring hometown where you're at. And, yeah, those were, like, the main things. And then it was just marketing from there and pulling up and executing.
What was the end goal? When y'all went out there, what did y'all want to accomplish?
End goal, I mean, so everything's about stats and numbers with these labels, and they want to be able to see mainly 2 things. How well you stream and if you can put asses in seats at shows. You know what I'm saying? Like ticket sales. And so those are like the 2 things that they're all like judging artists on. And so we've been doing well with the streams, but it's like you can't just be a local hero. You can't just keep putting numbers on the board in Atlanta. Like, that doesn't really make that much of a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we went out to LA, and the goal was to put numbers on the board, get tickets sold, and so we can start our portfolio of like different cities and where we're selling, and that we're an act that can go on the road.
What's the next city I want to head to?
It's really about his analytics and where his strongest like listenership is. West Coast is his everything. Like, his top 5 cities is West Coast. So we'll probably go out to maybe San Francisco.
Bay.
Yeah, the Bay Area. Sacramento gets a lot of spins on us too. San Diego, surprisingly. Yeah, there's a couple West Coast cities. So we'll probably just visit some more West Coast, but I think Bay's next.
Okay. How important is it to you to show and let people know that y'all are doing this shit 100% independently?
Super important. I feel like recently we've just had more meetings and about to shift gears and really start showcasing that, because a lot of people, because of the way we move, I think we're signed.
Yeah.
We move around with a lot of signed artists, bump into signed artists, and we're doing everything they're doing, but I think it's a discredit to us by not telling people we're independent, because if you let them think we're signed, you don't get the credit for how much we're doing and how hard this shit is to pull off.
Yeah.
So I feel like now it's kind of to take that lane of like a Nipsey Hussle type character where you start spearheading that campaign, letting people know what we doing, how we doing it, educating people on it, and kind of just be like the poster boy for that movement, especially here in Atlanta. I don't think there's nobody that I can think of that's really like the face of the independent movement here.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's probably some independent artists, but if they are, they're not really pushing independency like that.
Yeah.
So it's just a wide open lane, and I think we the people to do it.
The last time I heard a rapper push independent in Atlanta was Gucci Mane in early 2000s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and there's been some good independent artists, but yeah, that don't be their narrative. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of like framing it up, doing more interviews, speaking on it in the music, speaking on it when you get a chance to speak on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just be the face of it.
When you move like that as an independent artist, what kind of message does it send to like the labels?
I mean, you gotta look at the labels like I'll use street talk. You gotta look at the labels like a plug. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they're looking at people and looking at artists trying to see who can flip money the best. They're trying to find places. They're an investor, so they're trying to find places to put their money where it's going to do numbers. And it's like, if I see somebody's already doing decent, respectable numbers by themselves, I'm gonna be like, well, if I add my money to the situation, they'll be able to go crazy. Yeah. Like, so if they look at Will and be like, oh, he already getting 100,000 monthly listeners by itself in the streets. If I add whatever, such and such money to it, we should be able to push millions. Or, you know what I mean? With this work ethic, like, all he needs is more money and he'll go crazier because I don't have to teach him how to work. Yeah. And so that's kind of what you showcasing. You just showcasing like, yo, I'm making a lot with little. Yeah. So if you give me more, imagine what I could do with it.
Is there any desire to get signed at all?
Yeah, but to me, you just get more leverage the more you prove yourself before the deal. Yeah. So I feel like we just need to hit the ceiling first. You know what I mean? We'll deal with the signing talk when that shit comes. But right now, the deals that we've had talks about weren't enough to make us excited. So it's like, yeah, and we still got room to grow. We know we can max out where we at. So it's like, until we hit a wall, it ain't really no point in entertaining it.
Hypothetically, right?
Yeah.
Let's say the numbers are right where y'all want them. The tickets sales is right where you want them. Everything's pretty much perfect. What would be the perfect or the ideal contract for Will, or I guess like for y'all?
Ideally, whatever it is, something that's not super long term. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, deals to set you up to do more deals. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be in things that are multi-year, multi-deal contracts where it's like we locked up. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, if you just pay attention to the landscape, yeah, I hope and I wish that Will's an artist to stay here for 20 years. But all artists aren't 20-year artists. You know what I'm saying? A lot of artists get in the game and have a good 4 or 5, and then they start to drop back down. So I feel like knowing that, you got to go into it thinking, like, I can't give my best years to one person. Yeah. Yeah, like, so you got to set yourself up, like, even if he does crazy good, maybe let's get 4 or 5 years of being on top of the game. Like, you at least want to sign a couple deals in that time and make some real money. It's like being in basketball, like with NBA contracts. Like, as long as you're good, when it's time to renegotiate, you're going to have a bigger check coming. But, yeah, if you start falling off or your number's not doing the same, then that's when you get messed up. So, yeah, I think that's how we approaching it. Like, just short-term deals, like things for, like, 1 project, 2 projects, stuff like that.
Who have you studied during the beginning process as far as, like, managers?
Manager-wise, I kind of listen to a lot of different managers and people and executives overall. There's a dude named J.R. McKee that's pretty dope. A couple people put me on to him. There's other managers I've paid attention to. Barry Hefner. Let's see, who else? Outside of managers, though, like marketers. Because, I mean, the management side, it's funny, but management is technically like a lot of things. So, I don't know. I feel like marketing and pushing your artists in the beginning stages is more important. So I try to study marketers. Yeah. And so Steve Stout's one. Okay. That's really good. He's worked with Nas and a lot of other big artists and helped branch like the marketing side to rappers and artistry. And then there's a couple other people. I have to go through my list of folks.
Do you have a top 5 managers?
Top 5 managers? Nah, not really. Like Monopoly with Kanye. Like, there's certain people, but I don't know the extent of what all they did.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't want to
okay.
just say top 5, but I learned from everybody in those positions, and I take something from all of them. But I wouldn't say I know enough about them to just be like, yeah, they my top 5. Yeah, I feel like I would need to know like deep and see a documentary or something to know exactly why they're in the top 5.
Is there anybody currently that's in the industry that you're in now that you can like get advice from, that you can hit up and be like, yo, like I bumped into this, I don't know about that, like what you think about this, and should I do what?
Yeah. I mean, I made a lot of friends, and I have a couple mentors in the game. Like, well, one, my uncle Kenny Burns, shout out to him. I can always call on him. He's been in the industry for a long time, done a lot of different things, worked with a lot of different labels. Al Branch, he started out with Rockefeller, and he's worked with like G-Eazy and a lot of different people and successful artists. My man Dutch, that's Crit manager. He a close homie of mine, man. Shout out to Dutch. But yeah, man, I got a lot of people I can call on and ask for advice and use their like wisdom or their experiences and kind of figure out where I'm headed with mine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's what's up. Scooter Braun, Biggs Burks, Cameron, all started off throwing popular parties before the fame. Is that a part of your blueprint?
Yeah. That's also part of the reason for Agenda.
Yeah.
On top of the other reasons I said before, but Agenda, I believe music and community and like culture and shit, they tie into each other, and it's because if you think about it, music is made for people to rejoice and party and celebrate. So if you got my left hand on music and my right hand on the culture and parties and events, then you always gonna be good because they go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, music don't mean shit if people ain't partying to it or vibing to it or driving to it, whatever the hell it is. So it's like, I feel like to have a little bit in both is like key. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not leaving it up to chance, or you don't have to just deal with somebody else and hope they're going to do right by you. If you controlling the party scene and the music scene, you can make sure they both do what they need to do and coexist.
What's the future for you in regards of being a manager?
I look at this this journey with Will and the management with him as just a master class on management. Like, my mindset through this is we're gonna make it, I have no doubt in my mind, and I'm just building my connections. Everybody I meet along the way, whether it's videographers, directors, music executives, CEOs, like funding sources, whatever. Like, I'm building up my Rolodex of people, and so once we done and we make it, I'll basically have the blueprint on how to do this again with another artist. And but the only thing is, I want to take more of a senior management role after this. This is more of my hands-on training. I travel everywhere. We book hotels, Airbnbs together, and all that stuff when we moving. And that's more of a more encompassing role, like a road manager, business manager, all that in one. But I feel like after this, I've earned my stripes, and I won't be on the road with no artists again. You know what I mean? Especially because me and Will tight, so it's easy. But I feel like me meeting new people, I'm not trying to be traveling with you like that. You know what I mean? So I'll let them have their own road manager, and I could be more of a senior, like, executive role.
What's the future for Atlanta Fornia Records?
Sky's the limit, bro. I feel like we should be able to do something similar to how QC was able to do what they did. And sell for a couple $100 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, build out a good roster of artists, push them all, get them all on the board, get them numbers up. And, you know, if we want to keep growing that company or sell it or sell a portion of it, whatever the case may be. But I feel like just grow it, man. The sky's the limit. Yeah.
Any projects or events coming up in the near future? Anything going on with Big Scoon?
Probably everybody's been asking about mansion parties again this summer. Probably do something.
Do that.
For that. Outside of that, man, the artistry with Will's going up crazy, so there'll be a lot more things that we're trying to do on a bigger level. I want to put together a festival this summer. If not this summer, by fall for sure. Just trying to find the right venue and get the right set list as far as, you know what I mean, artists. So just working, calling managers, seeing what everybody's prices are, trying to coordinate. They got their own show date, see when everybody free and we can get a date locked in. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, those are like big, and also getting a new space for Agenda.
Yeah.
So we're getting a big production studio. So we're gonna be doing sets and renting out like sets and stuff to content creators and everything else. So,
How big is the new spot?
it's a couple thousand square feet, bro. It's pretty big.
Shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be big. So we trying to make moves, just go bigger and better. We finalizing paperwork right now, so we ain't gonna have no opening date until we let this ink dry on the paperwork. But once that dries, then we gotta do some renovations. So I'll know something sooner.
Okay.
Sooner
Shit,
than
man.
later.
That was all I had, player. One thing for pulling up on the Young Boss Hall.
Hey man, I appreciate you, brother. Anytime.
Appreciate you, man. And that's a wrap.